Hello, we are going to go through the Moncrieff Schedule of Values process that will cover where the documentation is, how the documentation is created, and then responsibilities and value that can be found as projects proceed through the Schedule of Values. First off, the schedule of values process begins with the estimator who bid the project, and after the project has been awarded from the general contractor, once the budgets are finalized, the schedule of values can then be created. So through the estimating platform, the estimator is going to provide the accounts receivable, this Excel sheet of the data, including the phase, description of the line item, division, units, quantity, budget, and extended cost. And it'll be broken out by phase with subtotals per phase to both ensure that data is moved correctly from PCMX and that it matches the budgets that should be entered into Sage. Once this data is created and received by the accounts receivable, that person will then enter the data into the template. So this field schedule of values is the first sheet in the workbook, and this is a sheet that both the project manager and the superintendent can get access through SharePoint. In the job file, if you have questions about where that is, please ask. It'll list the job, the customer, the application number, so how many of these have we done in a job, the period in which we are looking at. Typically that's the first of the month. The project manager, the application date, so what date will we be actually requesting to be paid on, and the period end is the date through which we will be requesting payment for. And then of course the superintendent as well assigned to the project. So how this will work is the data will be copied and pasted into the descriptions with the divisions broken out by division, so by footing, column, wall, slab on grade, and then the budget will be entered over here as well. So the schedule of values will be accessed a few times a month by the project team. Once the schedule of values is completed and ready for billing, because it ties, all the line items will tie into this financial schedule of values line by line. So once it's completed and ready for billing, the accounts receivable will send out a note, typically a week before billing is due, to all the project managers, giving them notification of when each of their projects have to be billed for. So ideally the day before the billing is due, the project manager will come in and enter values in this period. So for footings, if they complete a number of footings, bilineal feet, square feet, whatever the unit is, they will enter in what has been done from February 1st through, and what they anticipate to have done through February 29th. This application date is often either the 15th, 20th, or 25th. On occasion, those vary. And those are typically for the whole period of the calendar month. So let's say this is actually due on the 20th. On the 19th, the project manager will come in and enter values here. Those, when properly set up, will populate a percent complete and a balance to complete, and then those will tie directly into the financial as well. So it's the responsibility of the project manager to come in and complete this gray column here. Once that's complete, they notify accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is then responsible for coming back through, reviewing what has been entered, reviewing the financials, making sure that there are no errors, that all the percent completes are correct, all the formulas are calculating correctly, And then it's their responsibility to process the pay application and submit the request for payment. In addition to the standard work of the base contract, there are also going to be change orders on the project. So all change orders will be updated here prior to billing. If they're not there, that notification will need to be sent to the accounts receivable as well. Often it takes a while for change orders to get approved, and so it's understandable that sometimes they'll get approved the same day that billing needs to happen. So once a billing is complete and accepted by the general contractor, the accounts receivable will then come and revisit the schedule of values at the end of the calendar month. So around the 29th, the accounts receivable will come in and set up and update any change orders that had been approved since the billing date. So since between the 20th and the 29th, any new change orders that will be written will be updated, and the request will go out to the project managers to complete their actual schedule of values. The actual schedule of values is this blue column to the right. Now, where this gray column was what we completed to the day that the line item, the schedule of values was being completed, and it included a projection through the end of the month. So it was our best guess at what would actually happen. The actual complete to date needs to cover the actual of the quantities that were completed from February or through the project in its entirety. So it would need to be updated for everything completed from February 1st to February 29th. And these numbers are running totals, so they don't replace. So if you had already completed 50 lineal feet of an item, you did 50 more, so this line item would read 100 lineal feet. So that accumulates over the project, and once an item is complete, the units here should complete the job quantity in units on the left-hand side and read 100%. What this actual does is it will complete this actual budget value complete to date. So it'll take, based on the units that you said, the dollar value that should be captured during this period of time. So once the project manager has come in and completed the actual complete to date for the project, the accounts receivable at month end will go in to Sage and run the reports to populate this direct expenses posted to Sage portion. So all the direct expenses, typically divided by division per phase, will be entered in this section of the schedule of values. What that will populate are potential outstanding costs. So say we have footings. We say we've completed 50% of them, so our budget should be 50% complete, and we actually have 55%, and so it thinks it'll populate a negative number, which means we've spent $5,000 more than what we would anticipate based on our estimate and our budget. Conversely, it could also say, we've had $50,000 would be our actual budget value complete to date, but we've actually only incurred $45,000 in costs. And so we have either $5,000 in potential outstanding costs, or we actually produced better than anticipated and those costs are real and we've gained that much more on that division in that phase. What that tells us is good information both for our financial state of mind and our operations, to know that we're either doing something exceptionally well or maybe we estimated something too high. So it sparks a conversation that needs to be had to get clarity around what those are. Feel free to review your job schedule of values. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. I'm not spending a whole lot of time in the financials because it is all populated by the field schedule of values. So they are tied and they do impact each other. So please feel free to contact me if you have questions, and I hope this helped bring clarity to our schedule of values process. Thank you.